Being joined now by Abraham Amalba. He is a law lecturer and also he is with the NDC's legal team. Good morning and welcome to the show.
Good morning, Samson.
Thank you very much for coming. Now, we are going into the Bankswitch matter. I'm sure that you may have heard what has gone on about this particular Bankswitch matter. Of course, the International Arbitral Tribunal sat on the issue and made a ruling and awarded some 73 million United States dollars in favor of Bankswitch. And you may have heard me in my introduction in trying to simplify the issue to you, make it a bit, someone would say, too simplistic. And I'm saying that for not having the patience to allow Bankswitch, whom we contracted in 2007, is it, to do a 5-year work to help us to get all the revenue from our ports. They're supposed to do it within that period and hand over to us. For not having the patience to wait for them to finish that, and at a point, even seeking to terminate the agreement and not having the patience to go through a certain process, due process to terminate the contract, we are to pay the award that has been given. That is 197 million Ghanaian cedis. And I feel really terrible about these stories as they keep coming. And as I was reading that whole almost 160-page decision, I pinned everything down to one concern. This obviously was the negligent act of one politician, one single politician, and it's costing us this much. That same politician will ask us to pay more taxes so that he can keep the economy afloat. That's sad indeed, isn't it? Now, we are privileged on this issue also to have Dr. Anthony Akutose. He's the one who endorsed this particular agreement. Doc, the award is now in. It appears we obviously have no option. We are supposed to go and pay. Can you tell us a bit about what you know about this whole transaction?
Thank you very much. And as I go along, you might permit me to read.
That's fine.
Related
That's
to
fine.
It. Okay.
Yeah.
First of all, in 2005, I believe,
right,
is when the late Honorable Barredo signed an MOU. Let me go back. When we were in office, we found that one of the difficulties we're having is the issue of undervaluation. So we're putting pressure on the Revenue Agencies Governing Board that, look, if you solve this problem, it will do well. The status was that the DICs were the ones doing the evaluation, but Customs had no way of auditing the work of the DICs. So it became a problem. So that's what led to the MOU. For 2 years of discussions occurred between Bankswitch and Government of Ghana through SEPS, through RAGB, and through the Ministry of Finance. That led to the signing of a pilot phase of a contract in 2007, which was signed by my good self.
Right.
Bankswitch started demonstrating their capacity since 2007, and they were being paid for it. It's all in the transcript. We left office. That's end of 2008. 2009, thereabouts, the late Professor Atabil's government continued with this program through what I will call a cabinet decision, followed by an implementation committee to fast-track the process. This is 2009. Something happened in 2010 that I will not be able to explain, but I want to give you what I mean by that. Between May 21st and May 26th, some discussions were held, I'm told, in cabinet, chaired by the late Professor Atani, May 21st. GCNet, on the same day, May 21st, I think, wrote to the Minister of Finance proposing, what I'm told, that they were willing to undertake the evaluation offer for free. Between May 21st and May 26th, I'm told, and other people can confirm, because there are people like Honorable Hanatete, who were key Honorable Komnadufo was the Minister of Finance, Honorable Tepe, who was also there. So they are around, people can ask them. But apparently, the Secretary to the Cabinet, Mr. Abiba Kumensa, wrote to the Minister of Finance saying that he had been directed by His Excellency to give the contract to GCNet. Now, Bankswitch obviously were not happy. So there were negotiations. I believe, and government officials can confirm, somebody told me that this was one of the issues that Professor Mills was willing to solve before, unfortunately, he passed. So this matter between Bankswitch has been going on, as I said, from 2005. So now we are into 2009 and 2010. And this mystery, maybe others can resolve, and in 2010 is what has caused this whole thing. In my view, it was clearly avoidable. Nevertheless, even in 2011, and if you permit me, I want to quote that from there. In September 2011, this is part of the transcript, 11.112.
Right.
The Ministry of Justice, I'm quoting, wrote to MOFEP with regard to settlement discussions with Bankswitch. So obviously there have been discussions to settle, stating that the GCS did not duplicate or conflict with the DICs and could accept. So it appears that there was something useful going on in terms of negotiations, even though they are gone to arbitration. Fast forward a bit. January 2013, and this is part of the transcript, if you permit me. On 4th January 2013, the claimant, that is Bankswitch.
You just read paragraph 11.112. Where are you reading now?
Now it's 11.10.1.
Okay. On
January 2013, the claimant provided the respondent. Now, keep in mind, I've said that in 2011, they were negotiating. So, 2013, the claimant, that's Bankswitch, provided the respondent through the Chief Director of MOFEP, Commissioner General of GRA, and Director of Legal of MOFEP with a copy of the draft award on agreed terms. I'm not a lawyer. But it suggests to me, as a layman, that government was willing to negotiate. Let me go further, which is what even baffles me. On 10 January 2013, Messrs. Uppington and Dako of Bankswitch met with the Ghanaian Vice President, His Excellency Mr. Arthur, to discuss the draft of the award on agreed terms, and the claimant sent follow-up correspondence on the morning of 11 January 2013. This presupposes that government was going to settle. This is January 2013. What happened between that and now, I don't know. It's unfortunate. So briefly, if we can demystify what happened in May, and demystify what happened after the Vice President has approved the settlement award, we might be able to decide. Now, just to let you know that the government, or the government's MPP NDC, was clear in our mind what we wanted to do. Let me state for you 11.109, why we went on this path. And this is an agreement that I signed.
Right.
The Revenue Agencies Governing Board is embarking on an accelerated revenue mobilization program and seeks to deploy an optimal IT solution to achieve its stated objectives. Among the declared objectives is the need to eliminate the opportunities of fraud, false declarations, tariff code distortion, and therefore achieve integrity of a comprehensive price database to facilitate the verification of prices of
and what you are reading are the terms of the agreement.
Precisely.
Right.
And that I don't think anybody can doubt, whether it's MPP government or NDC government. Unfortunately, I can share some information with you, which I also know. I was told by some people at that time that I was being investigated as being a shareholder of Bankswitch around that time. I don't know where the investigations led to, but I'm yet to be informed. I want to state on record that I also was asked to confirm all the actions I had done between when I was a Minister of State, which included chairing meetings, giving orders, you name it. And that is what I put on record. Then I had a telephone conversation with the chairman of the tribunal on the issue of satisfaction. And it's also in the transcript. If when the need comes, we can read it. So I don't see
the telephone conversation with the chairman of the tribunal
was
it part of the arbitration process?
It is reported here.
Yeah, I'm just asking you because we are now just going on with.
No, it is part of the transcripts.
Fine.
So that's all I know. Right. I never went to the Hague.
Right.
So and where I'm quoted clearly confirms what I had done and what I was directing people to do. And the minutes were tendered in the evidence, so I have no problem with that. I don't think, given what happened in 2009, this government had a problem with it. I am convinced that May issue, through the weekend, something happened that we must find a way to explain. I think that it's important that we learn our lessons.
Right. So, in just 2 minutes, tell me, this award that has been given to Bankswitch, do you think it's fair deal?
I am not a lawyer, but I can tell you, going forward, what if you ask me what I would suggest to both government and Bankswitch, I can tell you that. But whether it's fair or not is up to the parties to decide.
Okay.
But let me tell you this. Government needs revenue. That's not doubted. Bankswitch is a business. It needs to work. And I think that should form the basis of the way forward.
From reading through the documents, the decision of the tribunal, do you find that the processes towards terminating the contract were wrong? Do you agree with that?
I'm not a lawyer, but I can tell you that what happened in May is not right. In fact, the late Professor Mills is gone. But if you were going to ask me to bet, I've come to the conclusion myself, I could be wrong, that he did not authorize that direction. I'm convinced myself. I'm yet to be proven wrong.
Interesting.
Because the reason is simple. Because the letter was written to Kwabena Duffuor on May 21st. May 26th, Kwabena Duffuor did not get a chance to respond to the president. Then he gets a letter on the 26th, the same day, directing him to. I mean, it's mysterious. Government doesn't operate that way.
I see.
You give at least the minister a chance to advise you.
Ebi, tell me, I'm sure that you would have read the decision also, and you're familiar what has gone on. What's your appreciation of all that has happened so far?
Two things. That public officials refuse to follow laid down rules and regulations. And that our haste to also abrogate contracts could have caused this. The first one, way back in 2004, in Faroe Atlantic, the Supreme Court had ruled that you cannot enter into an international transaction without parliamentary approval.
Right.
So, in 2004, those in office, including Dr. Osei Akoto, knew, knew that when they were signing the contract in 2007, 3 years down the line, this contract needed a parliamentary approval. They knew that. But clearly, they ignored the constitutional provision and went ahead. My understanding
so far the arbitral tribunal has been emphatic that you will not use your constitutional provision of Article 181(5) to run away from a transaction that you have entered into.
I don't think the tribunal is also saying that we should do away with our constitution.
Right.
The next important issue has to do with the fact that already my understanding was that GCNet and another company were into the kind of work that this company was coming to do. And so what was the need for bringing on board another company to engage in duplication of the nature of the work that was already in existence? And so when you look at it from that angle, and I heard Dr. Akoto Osei made a point that the duplication was not true and that they were in to do valuation. But you see,
no, I did not say that. I was quoting from the transcript. It's not me.
That this new company, the stamp Bankswitch, were to come and engage in valuation.
No, to help train SEPs to take over valuation. But what you heard me say was a quotation from the Ministry of Justice on this matter about duplication.
So the nature of the work is like breaking into two refuse collection. One company collecting the refuse and putting them at a vantage point, and another company coming to cut it away to the dumping site, which for me is capable of being done by just one company. And so GCNet were already in that exercise. And I'm also told that the government of Ghana was paying close to 600,000 Ghana cedis each month for work not done by Bankswitch. And so when you look at it from this angle, you will see that clearly some constitutional provisions were breached, and again, duplication of the nature of the work. But I also understand that there was a clause which provided for termination. Where the company failed to perform, you could actually terminate and pay a little compensation. And that was left over about, we just needed to wait for additional 2 months or 3 months for us to be able to evoke that provision. So again, I thought that those in charge should have just waited for that provision and then evoke the provisions of that. But to hurriedly truncate the process and then leading us to what is happening is one of the problems. The reason why you could see from the records that there were no representation from the Attorney General Department and our external solicitors even dumped us at a certain point is because, first and foremost, the government of Ghana declared that agreement as unconstitutional because it did not go through parliamentary processes. And so if we were going to be negotiating and continue the negotiations, it will mean that as a government, we had come to agree that the contract was valid, when indeed it was not valid, because you are complaining of a breach in the Constitution. And if you saw that and came back and you were negotiating with that same person, then it meant that tacitly you agreed to the terms of the contract. You can't negotiate on an illegality.
We should have stuck to that position than subsequently submitting to the process. And being
to which was the process outside?
Yes.
No, the process outside, I'll come to that. And that is because
no, I made reference to that because you were talking about non-representation of government on, you know,
a few occasions the Attorney General did not appear.
Right.
I'm not talking about that yet. I'm talking about some were saying that we could negotiate out. And Attorney General mentioned that there were some attempts to negotiate. And I'm saying that the reasons why that negotiation did not go far is because of the constitutional provision that that entire contract was illegal. And so you could not negotiate under an illegality. Right. That must be made clear. So, fast track to the arbitration. What I have noticed and which surprised me most was the fact that we had public officials who testified against this country. And the records show it. What has happened to our oath of secrecy? What has happened to our ministerial oath? And in some cases, parliamentary oath. What has happened to all this? Indeed, information has it that some records, official records, were sent and given to the tribunal as against the government in support of Bankswitch. So, you see, the whole thing is murky. It is such that we need to come back again this time as a nation to begin to see some of these agreements. How do we ensure that there is value for money? Because there is the question of duplication. Why do we have the penchant to be breaking contracts in several forms and be assigning them to people when you can have one company dealing with all those things? So I think these are the matters, and you cannot but at least for now blame public officials who were in charge of this project.
Can I respond a bit?
To the question of duplication?
No, more than that, because I think as a lawyer he's even gone further and made a categorical statement that he's blaming some of us whose testimony was given there as testifying against the government. I'm surprised.
No, it's borne out by the by the facts.
By the facts, yes.
Yes.
And does that mean I'm testifying against the government? I'm stating what I did as a public official. In my capacity as a minister of state, I signed a contract. Should I lie about it? What is there to lie about saying that you signed a contract? What is there to lie about I was sitting in a meeting and gave instructions? Is that testified against the government?
No.
I'm surprised that he's going that way.
No.
Let me go further.
If you value all the testimony, to whose benefit did it go?
The issue is not whose benefit. The issue is what I did.
To whose benefit did it go?
He's asking what wrong did he do in the process?
Please remember that.
I am saying that documentation is key, and we have. Then let's throw away this oaths.
I never said any document, official document there.
These oaths are not. These oaths we have on the Constitution.
I think it should be properly. I never sent any document there. I never sent any because I did not have any document in my possession. Please, let's get it right.
Okay. Is it your point that he and the others should have refused to testify?
Because we are bound by official oaths of secrecy. We are bound by parliamentary oaths.
There's no secrecy on signing a contract.
Those things are not supposed to be for public consumption. Why did you then swear those oaths?
Are you aware?
Why did you swear those oaths?
That copies of the minutes that I sat in were tendered there? Are you aware of that?
The extent
and in those minutes, it is indicated that I shared the meeting. Are you aware of that?
So that in our local court,
yes,
if a government, minister or an appointee has done something and the matter becomes a subject in court, they shouldn't submit themselves to the court to testify.
But there are processes of doing that. There are processes where you be asked to come and divulge that information.
By who?
But by who? By the court. And I'm saying that it's anybody contesting that there is an oath of minister.
Okay.
No. There is an official oath. Okay. There is. I guess we should move away from this part.
These
things are binding.
What does that mean?
These things are binding.
Yes. He's made the point.
They are binding on you.
They are binding on me. And when the court has information of minutes that I have sent him, and the court asks, "Is this you who signed it?" My oath says I should deny it. Is that what you're saying as a lawyer?
No.
Please.
Okay, move on.
2000, this parliamentary, I'm not a lawyer, but when, as I said, when you go a certain way and then you fall, you come back on the parliamentary. 2009, when this government approved it, when they are aware that it had not gone to parliament,
approve which one?
Approve this project.
You said you signed the contract in 2007.
Yes, but
I'm saying that way back in 2004,
for the purpose of argument,
2004, there was a Faroe Island decision that says that parliamentary approval must be sought.
Okay,
Faroe Atlantic.
Go forward. 2007. Assuming that
let's deal with this before we go forward.
Please.
No, he's saying that
he admitted
having become aware.
Having
become aware of this wrong that you claim has been done.
Yes.
You had the opportunity.
Your government
to stop
approved it. Didn't they know that it hadn't gone to parliament? Why didn't they do anything about it?
Approved what? Something that you've already signed. It's already signed. It's a legal document.
You are saying that it didn't go to parliament.
Yes.
You had the opportunity to correct it in 2009.
Okay.
Because you continue with
But that's why we are
okay, move on.
Duplication. Duplication. I think you should read it. All the documents by SEPS, by RAGB, including the Ministry of Justice, wrote to MOFEP with regard to settlement discussions with banks, stating that the GCS did not duplicate. This is government saying that, not me. And you are saying, look, if you don't know about what...
And that's supposed to be 11.11.2, right? Somewhere there, I read about that.
11.112.
Yeah.
This is not me. These are facts. And if you work at the ministry, I can show you a document where GCNet in 2006 had tried this path. And SEPS has demonstrated that this does not exist.
Okay.
This GCNet contract does not deal with valuation.
Right.
It is the DICs who do that. So, I mean, what I'm saying is that you should be asking who authorized that decision in May. That is where we went wrong. And then you tried to settle.
But we had gone wrong in 2007. That was the first wrong.
So why didn't you correct it? If I make a mistake, you are saying I've made a mistake.
Indeed.
So you should make a mistake.
In my submission, I indicated that there were two wrongs. I admitted that those who also abrogated it might have had their hands
up. But I'm saying that what they are admitting, there's no duplication. How can you come back and say that there was duplication?
Gentlemen, you see, let me tell you this fact. And I presume that all of you would have read the decision before we do the discussion.
Yes.
And a few times I try to stay back because a few times I get accused that I overread or over-research, and so when you are discussing, I get to superimpose a bit on you. Please, when you read paragraph 6.34, when you read paragraph 9.2.5, 9.2.5, you will see clearly that our own Attorney Generals wrote to say that the contract was a valid one.
Yes.
So the question of parliamentary approval is moot. Can we move on, please?
No, but something you can't say that.
Can
the Attorney General be wrong? Can the Attorney General be wrong?
Which year?
Can he be wrong? Something.
Which year did our
Something. The Constitution says that you must. I'm referring you to the paragraph. Something. You are a lawyer. You know that we need parliamentary approval.
Which Attorney General?
Did this one go to Parliament?
No,
it
the
didn't.
Attorney General
It's a fact.
it was valid. Just tell us.
No.
Paragraph 6.34. You can also read paragraph 9.2.6.
So if you and I know that something has not gone to Parliament,
don't worry. It's a long way. I'm getting there. But you see, I just want you to know that look, this is a
can the Attorney General say that without seeking parliamentary approval it's valid?
Right.
Can he say that?
Why did he write what he wrote?
What did he write? That's why I said
you haven't read
he should tell us which Attorney General wrote, and he should read. No,
Okay.
it's important.
Don't worry.
No, viewers wouldn't have the opportunity to read what he's saying. So if you should tell us, Attorney General wrote and stated.
But we can go on and search for it.
I'm moving on to that. But you are addressing the question of duplication.
Yes. 11.112.
Right.
In September 2011, the Ministry of Justice wrote to MOFEP with regard to, and then at the end it says, and also that the agreement should be performed in its entirety. That is the Ministry of Justice, your Attorney General. So, I mean, this is here.
Okay. Now, let me move on to Abdul Malik on this issue. Your reading so far. I just, you know what, I didn't want to just be mentioning it, but I will go to it so you see which period. But it's Betty Modidrisu. So let's go on, please. Let's go on. I say it's Betty Modidrisu. Read it and challenge me that it is not. Let's go on.
What did she write?
Let's go on.
It's not about you just
that the contract was a valid contract. That's the point I made.
But something with your little no, we are all students of law. Would you say it's valid?
Me.
Without parliamentary approval.
It doesn't matter even what Betty
we are
Modidrisu
at the point, we are talking about a point of fact. Gentlemen, I should not be arguing with you. We're talking about a point of fact
in there.
And I'm telling you that if you have read this judgment, you certainly know that it is said there that our own Attorney General wrote to validate the contract. So please, let's move on and stop the question of Article 1915.
It doesn't matter.
181 doesn't matter again.
1815. It doesn't matter again.
That's what the Attorney General wrote. That's what
I think there will be a headline that Article 181 doesn't matter again.
Okay, look, please go on, Kweku.
Well. I'm not sure. Maybe doctor can clarify. And Mutalatu, both of you are in Parliament. The gas, Western gas thing, Sanopec, has it been?
No.
Has it been approved?
Never been brought to Parliament.
But
Never been
the
brought.
work is ongoing.
But the work is almost complete.
But what
We are in 20.
have they given?
But you're talking about.
I was quiet all the time.
Okay, please. You take your time.
Question.
That's what it has not come.
We have been told.
I don't know.
You don't know?
No. It has not come to Parliament. It's a fact.
So is
the Sinopec contract has not come to Parliament.
But what explanation? This issue came up on the floor.
No.
And what was explained?
Okay, gentlemen, please.
He's just following the logic.
Before you go on, I have gotten to paragraph 6.34. I'll just read that. I won't go to the rest because if you have read it, you would have seen them. They are very clear. It says that as the dispute relating to the agreement arose in 2010, Dr. Kwabena Dufo, Minister of MOFEP, asked Ghana's then Attorney General and Minister for Justice to review the agreement. The Attorney General and Minister for Justice expressly confirmed that Ghana regarded the agreement as valid and legally binding, stating that she, having carefully examined the above-mentioned agreement, was of the opinion that there is a valid and a legally binding contract between the parties, and this is quotes the advisor was giving, and recommended two possible options. One, the abrogation of the existing agreement, or two, the renegotiation under clause 22 of the agreement. Let's move on.
Precisely. That's what is here.
That's what is there.
That's on opinion.
So this is what was presented to
an opinion
by the Attorney General.
It came up because you were raising the question that they didn't respect the MPP government did not respect Article 1815.
Yes.
And he said that you had the opportunity, subsequently when you discovered, to correct it.
To correct
and
what?
then you said what?
We have abrogated. That's why we abrogated.
Okay, move on.
You didn't even say
Coco, move on.
You said government.
No. He said his government, which he was part of.
Oh, he said government.
Government. Please move
So
on.
let's forget
Government, he
about
was part of it. Okay.
2000,
So that's not NPP government.
2004
The
and
facts are clear.
2012. The issue is that something went before arbitration.
Yes.
Right.
Their issues were interrogated. We put in some appearance, gave some details. Based on what we said, a ruling
Has been made.
was effected and an award given.
That's correct.
Safini. What else? Now, few things I've been checking. See, I wasn't surprised at all that this thing, we've arrived where we are. Look, post 2009, that is 2008, and you better go and check the media. You get all the stories there.
Yes.
The debate over Bankswitch and what it was perceived to be, that it was a channel for corruption and all, enrichment of Akuto Se, Kufo and all, it's all true. It was out there. There was debate. So a certain psychological environment was created. Meanwhile, if you read this, you realize that government itself, at the level of government, was doing something contrary to even what had been put in the media. But they put up this whole thing, and here we are. But I intercepted some few documents, you know.
Intercepted.
And if you read this is a letter dated 26th May 2010.
From who? GCNet?
Confidential. No, I have the GCNet one here. But I think this is what has more substance. 26th May, the GCNet one is dated 21st May.
Ah, so you are running my days. Now maybe I can follow
of
you.
GCNet valuation model. And then you have this one signed by Mr. J.K. Bebaku Mensah.
Right.
That says, I'm
Secretary to the President.
That's right. I'm directed by His Excellency the President to refer to a letter dated 21st May 2010, addressed to you by the General Manager of GCNet on the above subject, copied to this office and the Honorable Minister of Trade and Industry, following the meeting held on 21st May 2010 at the Castle, under the chairmanship of His Excellency the President on the Destination Inspection Scheme. Copy attached for easy read. They said, I'm to inform you that a proposal from GCNet for permission to deploy the valuation model in the Ghana Customs Management System as a measure to enhance SEP's tax revenue mobilization has been approved by His Excellency the President for an initial period of 3 months, beginning 1st June 2010. In granting the approval, His Excellency took into consideration the following factors. GCNet is already in the system and has valuation model, which is one of the models within the Ghana GCMS for the enhancement of the revenue collection by SEPs. GCNet will be deploying the valuation model without any extra cost to government. That was an incentive. You are to arrange a meeting with GCNet and all interested parties to work out the detailed modalities to enable the implementation of the proposals to start by 1st June 2010. Please accept for further units. Copy to Dr. Kobna Dufo and the Chief of Staff and Hannah Tete, Minister for Trade and Industry. Then, of course, the Ministry of Information also issued a statement telling the whole world this is GCNet to provide valuation services. It was signed by James Ajini Boati, where he said a statement, an interesting part is this. It is a statement issued by the Ministry of Information denied newspaper reports that the President, John Evans Atta had previously instructed that SEPs should play a lead role in matters of valuation, classification, and destination inspection. The statement emphasized that the President has never given any such instruction, explaining that the only directive on this matter is for the Minister for Finance and Economic Planning to ensure that GCNet deploys the model for an initial period of 3 months. Again, GCNet will not be providing this service at any extra cost to the state, unlike other service providers that will have to be paid over 500,000 Ghana cedis monthly for the service. Okay? Look, I'll tell you something. The little that I know, this whole Bankswitch thing, and I'm sure Dr. Akutu will be fair to confirm. Look, even under the NPP administration, there were people who didn't like it.
Yes.
Within the government.
Yes.
It became a tussle I have noticed, I've gone and I've intercepted some documents from as far back as 1998, cabinet documents, because we shifted from the PSI to
DICs.
yes, in 2000. And almost every administration that we have had problems in this sector. The system divided as to what to do and what not to do and how to do it. The question is why? GCNet, the DICs were all against the Bankswitch thing.
Yes.
And it's documented.
Yes.
Here.
In our minutes.
Indeed. Incidentally, I got myself dragged into some of those things. And so have a certain knowledge about what was going on. Come the Mills administration, those problems were transferred almost identically into that administration. And the same battles went on. I think it's because of lack of principles. Look, this thing happened, bottom line, because some people thought they could make some gains somewhere and decided not to go, let due process guide them. There's a certain document I'm holding here. It's a very explosive one.
I'm interested in your suspicion when you say because some people thought they could make some gains.
That's why they didn't go to Parliament for approval.
I'm asking.
I've asked you a question to pursue the point that you made about some people who thought they could make some gains somewhere, and that is why we are where we are.
I said I am holding a very explosive document.
Read it.
That one.
Please.
You don't direct me what to do. And
I'm
how to do
suggesting
my
to you.
Please.
The document I'm holding is indicative of the fact that this area, this whole area, this inspection, port things, has a certain impact even on people who go into government and how they take decisions, and the decisions they take. This Bankswitch thing is a classic example.
I don't get you. How do you mean?
I know what you are trying to do. But I have a document that tells you what happened 1998, 99, 2000.
2007. Comrade.
No, ignore him.
You know what? Nobody is going to
You go ahead.
compel me to make disclosures when I'm not ready. I have just put on record here. Maybe I'll get somebody to publish it to show to you that when it comes to this area, the politicians don't allow principles to guide them. And a classic example is this Bankswitch thing. Somebody thought that, oh, it was somebody's business. Somebody was gaining. So let's cut it off. And in the process of cutting it off, they committed a serious error of judgment that has led to this judgment debt, or should I say arbitral award.
Okay. Maybe you hold on at that point. Mutala, I don't know what you think,
Mutala is provoking me.
but your boss, the Minister for Information and Media Relations, has admitted
This matter.
that government erred in cancelling the contract with Bankswitch in the manner it did it.
Samson, I'm not here to speak to what my boss said or didn't say.
I'm interested in what different thing you have to share.
It's not about my opinion, how different my opinion is with what my minister said. I'm here as the Deputy Minister of Information and a member of Parliament.
And that is the reason.
No,
that's the reason
no,
you have a ticket
I'm not
on
here.
this show.
I'm not here. I'm not here.
I think he doesn't want to
No.
pigeonhole him.
Exactly.
Because,
And that's the point I'm making.
Okay.
Interestingly, Kweku has indicated, you know, the kind of information he had and mentioned 1997, 1996. And then that thing happened within that time. When I mentioned 2000, he said I'm provoking him to give out the kind of information he has. But you know why? It doesn't still matter. It doesn't matter whether, you know, a mistake was made. It doesn't matter, you know, whether the Minister of Justice or Attorney General wrote, you know, confirming that there was an agreement. It doesn't matter what matters.
It matters.
No, Samson. What matters in this case is the fact that people disregarded what the Constitution asked them to do. That is what matters.
Oh.
Yes.
When people disregard it,
Samson,
and you discover it,
Samson,
and you send it to the Attorney General
Attorney
to give you advice, and the Attorney General gives you advice that it is valid.
Attorney General express an opinion is not a matter of fact. Hold on.
It's a professional
Hold on, please,
opinion.
please. Can I
Attorney
finish?
General is not a serious
Can I finish? Is it?
But Samson.
Anyway, I enjoyed that heckling. I really enjoyed it. First and foremost, it is not about whether the Attorney General did that or not. It is about a wrong. And I don't think that we are trying to justify
What's wrong?
the fact that people disregarded what the Constitution asked them to do. In fact,
which people?
Can I finish? Can I finish?
No,
in which case there is a Supreme Court ruling on that matter that you cannot enter into any international contractual agreement without it going through Parliament. Absolutely disregard.
The Supreme Court rulings are present.
I'm
very fresh.
I'm saying that.
Let me give him some information.
Faro Atlantic has a caveat. Please.
Let's
not use it.
Was there a ruling or not?
You know that. He knows.
A caveat
was there a ruling
for
or
that
not?
you can go and have an international contract with a parliamentary approval.
Samson.
Is that what it is?
Anyway, can I make my point?
Let me tell you this.
Can I make my
in
point?
Faro Atlantic, the Supreme Court said very unequivocally that the certification by the AG on the agreement was critical. Go on.
It doesn't still matter.
Let me offer
Please.
Critical means
It
what?
doesn't matter. Critical means valid. Can I make my point?
Give me a
Can
minute.
I make my point?
Allow him.
I listen to you
Just
people.
take notes.
I listen to you
Please
people.
go on.
Don't comment.
And I don't want the moderator to engage in the debate.
Proceed.
Go through the
One,
process.
it is important for us also to understand one thing. And sadly, I would have to make some of these statements. Dr. Akuto is one person and he knows that I have so much respect and regard for him.
Make your statement,
Sadly,
please.
why? Must you determine to me how I make my statement?
No, you
Please.
said you have
I'm
called
saying
my
I would
name.
have to. In the first place, this particular company is, to a very large extent, a foreign-owned company because they own 60% and locally own 40%. That is very critical and ought to be mentioned. Two.
You mean Bankswitch
Yes,
Ghana?
yes.
Bankswitch
60% is
Okay.
owned
All right.
by foreigners and 40% is owned by Ghanaians.
Okay.
So it is critical. It is also important to state that Dr. Okuto Asai approved 600,000 Ghana cedis to be paid to them. What was the basis of such an approval? I would want to know.
Have you read the transcript?
Please.
It is there.
Oh, I'm asking you to. Please.
Oh,
Can I make
it is there. Read.
Dr. Akuto,
Read the facts.
You see, I'm coming. Please.
And
You
we're
have
dealing with
spoken.
the issue.
There is.
Oh, that's the
why?
issue.
Koku Baku.
No. What is the issue?
Can I make my point? Mr. Moderator.
Have you read the transcript?
Mr. Moderator.
Read the transcript. You
Mr.
know
Moderator.
Gentlemen.
I don't go to ask cabinet question when the facts are here.
Thank you very much.
Can I proceed?
Thank you.
Asking you to answer. It's a rhetorical question.
It's not the issue.
Gentlemen.
Answer directly.
Okay, do you want me to continue to refer to you as gentlemen, please?
Yeah, we are.
Go on.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Can I proceed? So the bottom line is that this thing did not go through Parliament. It doesn't matter whether oil, whatever came to Parliament or not. For me, it's Nansla. What is important is what we are discussing now as to whether they sought parliamentary approval, and failure to do that, did that legitimize the kind of contract we entered into? Dr. Akoto consistently has made this statement. I have listened to him on some radio stations, and he repeated it here, that they called him on a phone. That is absolutely inaccurate. In fact, can I finish, please? Please, can I finish? Can I finish? Doctor, I am not making. Oh, I'm lying.
You said that's not the fact. It is in the transcript.
Doctor, I was avoiding the usage lies. And I don't expect you to do
because
that.
it is here.
My honorable member, can I finish?
When you go on the track, it is here.
Mutala,
Would you tell him to allow me to make
I'll be sincere with you. I'm at pains not to get to be seen to heckle you. But speak to the facts as we have it on the record.
What is the fact here?
We are dealing with almost
what is the
a
fact?
160-page document.
Please, what is the fact? When he
Speak to it.
listen, are you engaging in a debate?
No,
when he's making his analysis, made references to, are you telling me that giving testimony is not important as far as this case is concerned?
Okay, ignore me.
So allow
Go
me,
ahead.
please.
Go ahead and make your point.
It was a conference, a video conference call. I can tell Dr. Akoto where he did it. It wasn't just an ordinary call. It was a video conference. And that video conference was done in Betty Angel Lecture
firm at Teachers Hall.
And what does the ruling tell you?
Please, let me finish, please.
No, don't suggest as if there's something wrong with it.
Akoto, there is everything wrong with it.
There is not.
Do you know why?
There is
you
not.
Cannot tell me whether there is or not.
It is part of the process.
Please,
no. That is law. It is part of
it's
the
not
process.
Law. Are we talking
to
law
take
here?
evidence.
To
take evidence.
Oh, we are talking law.
No, please.
Can I finish?
I have an obligation to my audience. I have an obligation to my audience.
Not to engage me in a debate.
I have read.
Not to engage me in a debate.
I have read the document, and I have an obligation to my audience.
Not to engage me in a debate.
The process to have video conference. There's nothing wrong with it. It is part of the evidence adduction.
Please.
No, but he said there's everything wrong with it. Akoto said that he only gave
a phone call. That was a man. Listen to me. That he said it on several radio stations. Factually wrong. Can I finish? I did not. Can I finish? I don't even know where. Can I finish? I have mentioned the firm, and I have mentioned where you did it. I'm saying that you have every right to challenge it. And I'm surprised something you are telling me. This one has gone. He has said it on several
you get it.
Okay.
So if he's getting it, stop heckling and debating me something. First and foremost, it is not true that I listened to Monson. Oh, they just called him and spoke to him. That is absolutely inaccurate. I will not use lies. It was a video conference call, and which was part of the process of arbitration, part of getting the necessary evidence. So if you sit here and you tell me that they just called you and you spoke to it, it is not accurate. You are not being truthful to the people of this country. And I think that point must be made and made very clear.
Just wait, take it easy. No, take it easy.
Wait. I have mentioned where you did it. I have mentioned where you did it. I have mentioned the name, and I said it's a Teachers Hall.
What's the substance of that?
The substance is that he says they called him. I listened to him, and that's why I said I listened to him on several radio stations. I can understand the desperation of trying to create the impression as if they just called me. No. I'm saying that it was a video call in which he indicated, he said, in part of his argument, that I didn't go there and therefore I couldn't be providing the kind of information.
Maybe I should help direct you. Mahama Yarga says, and I quote him, if there is any real fault, perhaps it comes from deciding not to accept particular arrangement and not taking the right processes to terminate what clearly would have been an agreement with the government of Ghana, even if it was a pilot program. Are you saying that this is not government's position?
In one bread you talk about you are discussing the ruling, and another bread you are telling me what Mama Ayerga said. It's absolutely irrelevant.
Talking about parliamentary approval and the lack of it.
Can I finish? In one bread on this same program, you told me that we are looking at the ruling. In another bread you are telling me what Mama Ayerga said. Let me make that point.
Please, that parliamentary approval is not monetary.
No, we should not.
Because if this platform propagates that parliamentary approval is not monetary. Please allow Mutala to talk.
And in any case, the fact that certain information were actually given information that was not given to Bankswitch, information that was not even given to the public, this information was actually given out because people think that they needed to testify against government. It's a breach of oath of office. It's a I don't expect you to be laughing when I'm making this statement. I don't expect you to be laughing. I expect you to be worried. And I'm happy you are. The point I'm making is that there was a breach. And the issue is not about whether the NDC came, they didn't even abrogate the contract. The bottom line is that people disregarded what they ought to have done. And if you listen to Dr. Akoto, repeatedly he said, I'm told. I'm told. I don't think that the debate is about I'm told. The debate is about what happened. I'm told there was a meeting at the castle, and I'm told that the meeting was chaired by who? That is not what we are looking for. We are looking at the circumstances leading to the reasons why we have to pay this money. And that for me is significant. There's another very important
abrogation.
If you look at, yes, it adds up. I have no problem at all with that. Another very important
adds up, it's not the reason.
I'm saying that it's another reason.
It's not another reason.
It is the reason.
No.
It is the reason.
Why do you want to jump the parliamentary?
Why did the matter get to where it got? Oh, because of an abrogation.
No, the matter got there because people engage in an illegality. They engage in a contract that should have gone through the due process of law by going through parliament, which they didn't.
Who sued over the illegality?
Please, I'm saying that was the remote call. Then you tell us that leave this one.
But you see, there's an immediate call. Who sued over the remote call? Let's add all.
Something, can I make my point? Something, can I make my point?
The people took you on because you abrogated their contract.
Something, can I make my point?
So the people of Ghana have no right to
a lawyer, what the Constitution says and what the law says is not regarding. It is also important. It is important we look look at this issue.
No, let's take the side issues away and speak to the substantive
because
matters.
you are virtually debating me, Samson.
What is the side
You are
issue?
debating me.
Non-parliamentary approval.
You are debating me.
Move on to your next point. You
That-
have
that-
been speaking for some 15 minutes now.
Because you
You're
have
going
been
to stop after
heckling
this
and
point.
debating me for 15 minutes.
I have not heckled
now.
and
In fact, you are
debated you.
debating me. You are not even heckling.
If you don't speak to facts, I'll straighten it out.
What are facts?
Facts,
Mama Yerge's
facts as far as the
statement, Mama
judgment is
Yerge's
concerned.
statement is the fact. What you read repeatedly is the fact.
He
Is that what
doesn't
you're
speak
telling
for
me?
government. That's what you're
I'm
saying.
saying that Mama
If you're pressing
Yerge's
it's not
statement,
legitimate.
we are not talking about what Mama Yerge said. We are talking about what the issues we are
Can you
looking
proceed
at.
to your next
And
point?
it is also important for us to understand, if you look at the whole judgment, which is that they are seeking about 197 million Ghana cedis. Now, assuming that government is to pay these 197 million cedis, excluding corporate income tax, government would have taken 25% of the corporate income tax. It is significant that we also make this information available, that is not what government is being asked to pay. And in any case, this case is being challenged. Government is not just going to lie low. I said this case is being, government will not just pay, and that is why government has, oh please,
Hold on. Please allow him.
Because what he's saying, he knows
Please,
he cannot.
he's communicating official government information.
You say
you need to hear him.
what if there are discussions, what if there are negotiations, what if there are this? I'm saying that the 197 million that is being branded out, I'm saying that even if you calculate 25% of it, it's not going to be so. And it is important when we are having an intellectual discussion on it, you put it out there. But it is significant.
Your point is that government is not paying it, government is challenging it.
I'm saying that the 197 million, I'm not saying government is not paying or challenging. Okay. What I'm saying is that the 197 million that is put out there, that is not what if government is to pay. That is not what government is paying. And government is not paying that because you would have calculated the 25%, corporate income tax on it. But the most important aspect of it, if Dr. Akuto and Co. entered into a contractual agreement, that says that they take 0.05% of all revenue, both oil and non-oil revenue. I asked myself a simple question. What was going through the minds? That they went into, because 2/3 of it, which amounts to 0.07% of oil and non-oil revenue. The question I then asked myself is that those who were there, who were working and ensuring that other organizations could do that, wouldn't they? I have a transcript here. Now, these were the questions that were put by the president of the panel to Dr. Akuto, and I don't think that he would deny those ones too. I really don't think so. And that is why I'm saying that the bottom line is, did they need to do what they did? Didn't they know that Parliament was in existence? And as far as I'm concerned, and the last time I checked, Parliament was not in Azerbaijan. We had a Parliament in Ghana. But you know why? If you sow a smoke with human excreta, you cannot be complaining when you are being followed by flies.
This show is brought to you by the kind sponsorship of Lipton tea. That is inspiration flowing from nature. Get a mug of it and get refreshed and energized to go about your work this morning. Now, I take your quick rebuttal. Please box it into some 2 minutes and I'll move on.
First of all, I'm not going to allow this NDC style of trying to paint.
It's not an NDC style.
Please.
Oh, but you did that repeatedly. It's not an NDC
and allow
style.
him to come here and state what the obvious.
It's not an NDC style.
Telling the whole.
I have indicated where you did it.
I did not go there.
You did.
This transcript
was a
reading.
video conference,
please.
Not a telephone call. I have indicated where you did it. I have mentioned the name of the firm, and I have mentioned where it is located.
This transcript you are reading, are you finished? Is the telephone conversation between myself and the chairman of the tribunal?
It was a video conference.
Oh, please.
Assuming without admitting it was. Yeah. What really is the
no, the difference is that they just called me.
I'm told on authority that the firm you are mentioning do not have a video conferencing facility in that firm.
Who says
okay,
who?
Please
voila.
Says who?
I'm told on authority.
So what authority? What makes it authoritative?
Oh,
please
You
go.
are denying that.
I'm asking a question.
You have spoken. You have spoken your lies. Let me rebut.
Oh, my lies?
Yes, let me rebut. That statement you made is wrong. See, when they feed you the propaganda, you are an MP now.
It's not about propaganda. It's about
this conversation is. Oh, please, can you stop? This propaganda matter, it won't get you anywhere.
What propaganda?
You are being fed with lies. This transcript that is here is a follow-up of a telephone conversation between myself and the chairman, whatever his name, Mr. Bong. It is not a physical person. You can call Ace and lecture what's their firm to see if this happens.
But who says
this is not happening?
I never said
please,
that.
that's what you said.
Gentlemen, we must have an end to this.
Yes, but don't
this orderly way of
I
going
want
about
to
the
respect
discussion.
your public.
Right,
When people make these lies and trying to say that it's illegality,
I gave you 2 minutes, and please don't also look at him and direct it directly at him. If you do, he'll respond.
No, it is sad that.
So please go. Please go.
Get to this point. The facts are very clear. I think, in my view, it's unfortunate that we've allowed. Let me go back to the statement I said earlier. I know for a fact that I was being investigated, like Kweku said, around that time, for being an owner of Bankswitch. I don't want to call the name of government official. But when they found out that it was false, they left there. This mystery that happened in May.
What is the relevance?
That is what is the relevance.
Investigated or
when
not?
you try to do political
don't respond to him.
when you do political equalization, this is what happens.
Okay.
Somebody should ask, and I'm sorry Professor Mills is not here, but at least Hannah Tete is here, Dufo is here, Setepa is here. That May 26th thing, it is very mysterious. But we should be careful when we go into government and start talking about politics. Don't come and sit on radio and do propaganda. It will catch up with you.
Okay.
If they think,
propaganda?
If they think I've done something wrong, they should take me to court.
All right.
It's not about taking me to court. We are discussing the illegality you guys engage in.
Now, let me pick a few comments here, and then we'll take a break. We'll return to finish up on this matter quickly. Messages. These are supposed to be on the earlier discussion, rather. Sabato in New York says, we Ghanaians in the diaspora are highly worried about the sorry state of Ghana's economy with the judgment debt today and not that tomorrow. Pak Ganiu in Savligu writes, the EU representative that was present at the forum could not force Ghanaians to sign the deal. So why didn't we beautify the argument by hearing the side of the rep instead of heckling? I am so much disappointed. Samuel Bryan writes, the EPA will be the worst ever agreement to be signed by a Ghanaian government. Someone must stand up for Ghana. The trade minister needs to tell us what have been the benefits or otherwise of the interim EPA that we signed in December 2007. Some studies show that the collapse of our poultry industry is as a direct result of the EPA, which has ensured that our markets are now flooded with cheap European chicken imports. Adam says something, please ask Dr. Akuto about the circulating allegation that he testified. Okay, all right. He's spoken to that. Who next? Who is next? Bonti in Kumasi says, we should weigh the merits and demerits of the EPA program and make a bold decision as a nation than being in a haste to accept whatever program that comes from the donor countries. Ghanaians deserve better, if not the best. Hakim in Kentampo says something. The late Prof. Mills, Prof. Mills' house should be sold to pay the debts. Okay, let's move on. I'm not interested in that.
Don't read it.
Akumi Aviaka says, sincerely, by that agreement, we may be unable to protect our markets against the EU, but rather make the EU compete with China on our soil, with the terms more favorable to EU than the Chinese. Ibrahim Kopa sends this from Tamale. The action demonstrated to the EU delegation is an absolutely diplomatic blunder. The earlier the government apologizes to the EU authority, the better for us as Ghanaians. Osman Rajab says Dr. Graham has demonstrated the reasons behind his interjections. That is the best method he could use. Samson, you don't need anybody to tell you all these kinds of fora are waste of resources because our government has a stand. Ernest in Tamale says Dr. Graham's argument is just in the right direction because the EU is losing its competitiveness in terms of trade. They want a way out, and the next available option is Africa. Thank you very much. We'll take a break and I'll return to read your comment on the next subject that we are discussing presently. We'll be right back.